Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for Audiobooks for Success, your go-to channel for insights that can change the way you think, live, and succeed. You won't want to miss what's coming up.
Okay, picture this. You step onto a bus, maybe the subway tonight, and just look around. Everywhere, faces lit up by that blue-white phone glow. Or you think about living rooms dominated by these huge flat screens. And almost everyone, right, has those little white things in their ears.
Yeah, earbuds.
Exactly. Feeding them this constant stream like a private soundtrack, just completely drowning out the world.
It's pretty striking when you put it like that. And what's really chilling, I guess, is that this scene, our daily life, it's not some recent sci-fi thing.
No.
It was basically laid out in 1953 by Ray Bradbury in Fahrenheit 451.
The book people think is just about firemen burning books.
Exactly. But it was really, I think, this terrifyingly sharp diagnosis of, well, our whole cultural dance with technology, and maybe even more, our fear of difficult ideas.
And that's really what we want to dig into today. We're going, beyond just the plot. We want to unpack the novel's three big prophecies. Because why does this book from, 70 years ago feel less like fiction and more like watching a documentary about right now?
Yeah.
Our mission here is to kind of figure out how those prophecies work and maybe see how we, actively built the world he warned us about.
Okay, so just a quick refresher for you listening. The story, it focuses on Guy Montag. He's a fireman, but his job is burning books.
Right.
And his whole world starts to crack when he meets Clarisse, his neighbor. She's young, curious, doesn't fit the mold.
And she asks that question.
She just asks him very simply, are you happy? And that one little question, it just shatters everything for him. It kicks off his whole journey from, state enforcer to basically a fugitive seeking knowledge.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Prophecy number one, maybe the most obvious one, technology. But used not to connect people, but to isolate them, control them even.
Yeah, and the perfect example is Montag's wife, Mildred. She is this society. Her life revolves around the parlor wall.
These giant interactive TVs, right, covering whole walls.
3 walls. Sometimes she wants the 4th. And the people on the screen, the scripted characters, she calls them her family, her relatives.
She's just completely checked out from reality, lost in this, meaningless digital drama. And then there are the earbuds.
The seashell radios, tiny little things stuck in her ears, constantly pumping in noise and chatter, day and night.
Which sounds incredibly familiar. AirPods, noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah.
We create these personal sound bubbles everywhere now.
We really do. And Bradbury saw that. He saw it wasn't just entertainment, it was replacing real human interaction with this easy, passive distraction. The book points out we carry our own parlor walls right in our pockets now.
Constantly scrolling.
Constantly scrolling, yeah. Curating feeds designed to just keep us hooked. It's an addiction loop.
But what Bradbury really nailed was the trade-off, wasn't it? The idea that we choose this. We give up actual, sometimes difficult, human connection.
For the easy glow, the immediate comfort of the screen.
So why is that such a big deal, beyond just, being a bit antisocial on the train?
Well, because of what it does to our ability to think. That was Bradbury's real fear, I think. This constant noise is nonstop entertainment. It leaves us unable to handle silence.
Unable to think deeply.
Exactly. Unable to sustain a complex thought. We become passive. He describes the society as full of data, chock full of facts, but nobody understands anything.
You can list facts, but you can't connect them. No context.
No context, no meaning. And that constant stimulation, it just erodes the space you need for an original thought, for individuality.
Right, because real thinking needs quiet. It maybe even needs boredom, which we seem terrified of now. The second we feel empty space, we reach for the phone.
We reach for the pacifier. That's what it is. Critical thinking, individuality. It needs that inner space, that pause. But when every single moment is filled with an alert, a notification, a feed.
From the seashell radio or the algorithm.
Yeah, that space just vanishes. It's like an enforced state of not thinking. We're basically self-medicating with entertainment.
And that kind of passivity, that mental disarmament, it sets the stage perfectly for the second prophecy, which I think is the one people often miss or misunderstand about the book.
Which is?
Censorship, but not top-down government censorship primarily. It's censorship by choice, a self-censoring society.
Ah, yes. This is crucial. And Fire Chief Beatty, he's Montag's boss, the sort of intellectual defender of the system.
Yeah.
He lays it out very clearly for Montag.
He says the firemen weren't some dictator's idea.
No. He says that people created them. Society got crowded, got diverse, got, well, sensitive, and people just didn't want to be upset. They didn't want to deal with uncomfortable ideas.
So every group, every minority, every special interest, they started finding something offensive in books, in complex ideas.
Right, and instead of engaging with that friction, that difficulty, they just demanded it go away, smooth it all out.
Give us shorter books, digests, summaries, soundbites, just entertainment.
Beatty says it flat out. People just don't want to be unhappy. And that's the key, I think. The book burning, the censorship, it's the symptom.
Not the disease itself.
Exactly. The disease is the public demand for essentially intellectual and emotional peace at any cost. The firemen are just providing the service people asked for. Eliminate controversy.
Okay, but hang on. How do we map that onto today? Is it really self-censorship when, say, social media platforms remove content? Aren't they acting like the firemen, just responding to user complaints, which are essentially demands for conformity? Where's the line?
That's such a good question, and it's blurry, right? But Bradbury's point was that the demand originates from the users, from the desire for comfort. We actively build our echo chambers today, don't we?
We curate our feeds, yeah. Block people we disagree with.
We call for things to be taken down because they offend us or challenge our group. We are, in effect, choosing comfort, validation, agreement over the messy hard work of engaging with different views.
So we've kind of just outsourced the fireman's job to the algorithm and the report post button.
In a way, yes. We demand alignment. We stop asking for nuance and start asking for conformity. We want that peace that Beatty talks about, that absence of friction.
And the terrifying irony is that by trying to avoid offense, we end up creating a world that's incredibly hostile to the very idea of challenging thought, which is exactly what the regime in the book wanted.
Precisely. The modern parallel isn't just burning physical books. It's this huge societal drift towards agreement. We value feeling comfortable, feeling right inside our bubble, more than we value the difficult, sometimes painful truth that comes from outside it.
Bradbury's warning was basically, if you value comfort more than truth.
You'll eventually start burning the sources of truth yourself, one way or another.
Okay. So, technology isolates us and makes us passive. Then we choose to censor uncomfortable ideas for the sake of peace, which leads directly, I guess, to Prophecy 3.
Which is?
The inevitable result. The total devaluation of deep knowledge, of contemplative thought. The book burning is just the final physical act. The real destruction already happened in people's minds.
Well said, yeah. Think about just the physical difference between reading a book and watching a screen.
A book forces you to slow down.
It demands your active attention, doesn't it? You have to focus, sustain thought, sometimes over days. You build the world in your head. Imagination is required.
The parlor wall world, or our screen world, it's the total opposite. Fast, loud, shallow, designed for passive, effortless watching.
And look at us now, even with all the information in the world theoretically at our fingertips via the internet.
We see knowledge itself kind of cheapened. We prefer, what, TikTok explanations, short form everything, clickbait summaries over deep dives.
We confuse having access to information with actually knowing something. There's this term, digital amnesia.
Right. The idea that we don't bother remembering things because we know we can just Google it.
Exactly. We're drowning in data, just like Bradbury predicted. But that flood actually stops us from building the internal structures, the connections that make up real wisdom.
And Faber, the old Professor Montag meets, he nails this, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He tells Montag that good books, real knowledge, they have pores.
Yes, pores. Meaning they show life in all its detail, its texture, its messiness, the good and the bad.
But the society in Fahrenheit 451, they chose the smooth surface, the simple story, the airbrushed reality.
They chose the parlor walls, which give you sensation without substance, over the book, which demands effort but offers depth.
Why, though? Why did we, or they, make that choice, if the warning was so clear?
Because, and this is the really painful part, the world Bradbury warned us about is incredibly appealing. It's easy.
It's built on convenience.
Convenience, comfort, frictionless living. It's the result of millions of tiny choices every day where we just pick the easier path. It is easier to be entertained 24/7 than it is to be informed. It is more comfortable to feel numb than to feel the complexity, sometimes the pain, of the real world.
We sort of welcomed the distraction because it made life feel simpler, smoother.
We traded depth for ease.
Okay, so let's try to pull this together. We've walked through these prophecies. The isolation via technology, the self-censorship driven by comfort, and the resulting crash in the value of deep knowledge. But Bradbury's book, it doesn't feel like it has to be a fixed prediction, does it? It feels more like a challenge.
I think that's exactly right. It's an urgent warning, but not necessarily a sentence. And the resistance, the way out, it starts small, just like Montag's journey did, with a quiet choice.
Like asking, are you happy?
Or deciding to actually read something difficult. And remember, at the end of the novel, Montag finds those living libraries.
The people who memorized whole books?
Yes, intellectuals hiding out, preserving knowledge by becoming the books themselves, word for word, in a form that, can't be burned or deleted.
They internalized it, made it part of who they are.
Which maybe brings us to the final thought for you, listening right now. If the original firemen in the book were burning paper, and our modern world seems to be burning our attention spans, our ability to focus.
Then how do we fight back?
How do you choose that active experience of knowledge that Faber talks about? In a world saturated by passive screens, what does it actually look like for you to truly internalize complex ideas, to make them part of your own mental architecture, instead of just, accessing data snippets when prompted?
That quiet act of really thinking, of remembering, of connecting the dots yourself.
That might just be the most powerful form of resistance we have left.